Hello, welcome to the video. So this is my 60 clone board. I started assembling this some time ago and I've just not got round to finishing the video, so I've done part 1 and part 2. Right, so here we have the ARM 2 SID and my 60 clone build. So we're still missing a couple of bits. I robbed the character ROM for the junker when I blew the arsehole out of that. I've got some ARM 2 SIDs here. This is a dual one that I bought originally to go in my 64 Elite, but that's got real SIDs in it, so I'm going to rob them back out at some point. But I see the ARM SID as a good enough replacement for the SID in every aspect. This one here though, this is the one we're going to be putting in this board, and this is an ARM 2 SID just like this one, and what it is it comes with a connector and you can make the extra data lines across the board, and it can do some funky stuff. So it can have 2 SIDs, it can have 3 SIDs, it can have 2 SIDs and an FM sound expander. So you've got to do something like this. I think you can see that it comes out all right on the camera, and then you've got to do a funky arrangement on the cartridge port. So yeah, this build has been kicking around for a while, and I've had so much real life stuff that hasn't really got done. I've got the Kawari in here, and this is going to go into a custom case as well. So this will be one of my running 64s that I'll use all the time. So yeah, let's get this fucker installed. Okay, so I've got 2 wires hooked up out of the 6. And these are probably the 2 hardest ones in there on the cartridge port. So it's not the best soldering job, but it is solid, and yeah, you can put some force on that. It's not going anywhere, as you can see. Yep. So you've got 1 wire underneath that goes to pin 5, and you've got to make this like double diode resistor arrangement in like a trident to some of the other pins. So that's so it can select all the different modes and the memory addresses. So yeah, let's hook up the rest. Okay, so I went through one of these ports that originally is for the RF modulator tags, and I've taken it to the back of the board, and I've just tagged onto, I've got to clean up a bit of plastic. I've just tagged, that's going to really bug me, hang on, there we go. These onto the CPU pins here and here for the extra addressing lines, and one onto this pin 7 of the AV jack. So that's pretty much all it's going to need, I think, and that's all there is to it. Let's just tidy all these up. I'll use a bit of Captain to hold them down on the back. Yeah, it looks a little spider-like because you haven't got a choice, but for the features you're going to get, it's definitely worth it. So yeah, this is ready to go into the case again. Okay, so I've managed to fit the new, the old cartridge port. I've given it a spray with some cold galv. Yeah, it's come out all right. You know, it was a pull. I got it from Retroleum, but I'm still missing the character ROM for this 60 clone build. I'm near the end. I've got the ARM 2 SID in, and you know, the Kawari. I've got the Plankton EV. So I'm pretty good. Yeah, I've just got to sort out its character ROM. Now, here you'll notice that I've made my own basic ROM. Now the reason is I've used a board, which I got a lot of these boards, 10 or so, from PCBWay. Yeah, so I've got this, and I burnt a 16K EEPROM with 2 8K images in, and I've just forced it to one position, and it works really well. It does work really well. Well, you can do the same thing for the character ROM, and that's what I'm going to do next. The kernel ROM, I've got one of these 16 capacity ROMs in there that you can turn on here and do that. But yeah, so let's get a new replacement character ROM built. One thing to bear in mind is that using a newer EEPROM, is going to use less power than the original MOS chip. And getting a replacement character one's in the region of about a tenner, whereas I've got all the other bits laying around. So yeah, I'm going to do that and spend just 10 minutes hooking it up in a bit. I've got a Plankton in there, which is the preferred PLA, at least for the ones I've tested. I've done some testing with PLAs in previous videos, and these are, in my opinion, the best you're going to drop in. It's that simple. I've had no issues with this, no matter what I've thrown at it. So yeah, so what's left to do? We need to program the firmware in the ARM2 SID, make sure that's up to date. We've got some chips here that need some heat sinks put on them, and then we need to get it in a case. So yeah, let's wrap this up in a bit. Okay, so here we are, and what we're going to do here is glue on some heat sinks. So what I did was I come up with a couple of 3D models that you can use a couple of bolts with and bolt them together to keep some pressure on them. Unfortunately, if you give these too much Ned Ted, they crack and break. These are printed out of PLA and PETG, and yeah, they're only really good for a few attempts and they break. However, I've printed these bad boys out of ABS, so yeah, these should be a lot stronger. So what we've got is two CIAs and a CPU. The CPU I got from Retroleum, which already had, it was a recovery one, so it's a bit cheaper, and it's got these turned pins pressed into it. Unfortunately, that increases the height of it, and I can only just get it in, so that should be a bit of a mission. So what I do is I turn them upside down and mark what they are. Obviously, you're going to cover up the chip markings once you've done it. So the first thing we want to do is undo the wing nuts. There we go. And take them out of the way. And that's ready. So the chip is going to just sit over it like that. So 6526. So what do we got here? Thermal glue. These also, and these heat sinks, they come from Retroleum as well. So I got them a while ago, just haven't got round to it. Right, so let's pop that. Okay, now the whole point of using these is so that we can get a nice even spread of glue, and you want as thin an amount as possible for the heatsink to do its job. So yeah, so what we're going to do is we're just going to, I think we'll apply it to the chip as it falls me out. Okay, so all we need to do is add a small amount to the chip. There we go. Nothing too severe, because it's going to squidge. Right, and then we're going to place that on there like that, and you'll feel it float around. So just make sure that it's center it away from one end, so you can see which end has got the dimple on, just to make your life easier later. Right, so we put these back on and add the wing nuts. Come on, they're fine once you get them started. Now, yeah, of course it is. Right, so we add the wing nuts just like that. Now here we need to straighten up the chip, so get the chip in the middle and just a little bit of pressure on there just to keep it centered. Then just try and maneuver the chip to the center of the heatsink, and that looks pretty cool. Yeah, it's going to squidge a little bit, you know that. So then just do it up. Now, don't monkey fist it, and don't do it with a ceramic like I did in one of my other videos and crack the bloody chip. So all you got to do is make sure that you nip it up. You're looking at the ends of the chip to make sure it's central on the heatsink. There we go. And then don't monkey fist it. Whatever you do, do not monkey fist it. There we go. And that will just dry in the right position then. And it'll leave a nice even thin layer, so the heatsink will at least have a chance of doing what it's meant to do. So the next one, I only made one big enough. This one is too big and that'll bend at the ends. So I'll use this one. So let's just take this off. There we go. So, same deal. We'll drop over the chip. We're going to just squeeze a little bit all the way down it. Drop the heatsink on top, nothing too fancy, and then off up the holes. There we go. Now this is why I wrote on the bottom of the chips first, because you're going to cover it up afterwards. Right, so let's get that in the centre. And I think, see, I'm trying to do it properly myself without getting it on camera as well. Is also a bit of a pig. Yeah, that's gone right out that end, so a bit more pressure, just hold it in place. There we go. That end. Yeah. And just tighten it down a bit. Now well, it's definitely come out evenly. Nice. So you can see it's bending a bit there, but that's because I've printed this white stuff in Pt3. So that is what it is. I'll just leave that there drying. No problem. Right, so it can be a bit deceptive because sometimes where it squidges out is at a different angle to the pins, and you think, oh, that don't look right, but it is actually square. I mean, if you look at this one here, I don't know how well this is going to come out, but that does look fairly square. But at the end of the day, it's there to do a job, and that is to keep it cool. That's the reason for doing it. So, okay, so here we have the CPU. Right, let's see if we can go a bit more frugal this time. I don't know why it's squidged out so much. Nice. Okay. Here we go. Boom. Now that can go on there like that. That one just captivates the legs. There we go. Yeah, it's been a while since I've done the last video on this board, so I'm trying to get these jobs done. Tick them off the list, as it were. Right, let's see if we can't just even that up. Looks pretty good. Let's tighten it. There we go. Still pretty good. And there we go. So, and it's still squidging out, lovely. So yeah, that's how we know we're bang on. Right, so they've just got to dry. No issue there. And that's how I fit heat sinks. So in a bit. Okay, so this is where we've got to. The heatsink have been glued on and they come out really well, and as you can see they definitely look the part. These ones come from Retroleum. I think they're like £1 each or something. I didn't have a character ROM, so what I've done is I've taken the 4K ROM image and I've copied it 4 times into a 16K EEPROM and just blasted that into there. The same with the basic ROM, I just copied that twice, so that's all good. Everything's all pucker. I've managed to drop them on the board, print a couple of keyboard mounts in ABS, so they've come out really super nice. That's ready to go in the case. So let's just get the case up, and we're going to get the motherboard in, so in a minute. Okay, so here we've got the 60 clone in its case. Now this case is a reproduction. It's a reproduction 64C case, and it's in the SX64 sort of colour scheme, which is a silver bottom and black top. Here, so they look really nice. So there's a little bit of a story with this case. About a year ago, a guy called John Hoogstra put an advert on Facebook. Case, 15 quid. I was lucky enough to be there to see the advert pop up, so I responded first and said I'll give you 15 quid for that. Anyway, everybody else sort of piled in and they're like, oh no, that's too low, you're ripping him off, and I'll give you more money for it. And that's, you know, the general sort of Facebook arsehole sort of response. And quite unexpectedly, this guy stuck to his guns and said, no, I was first, this is the price, and I'll honour it. And that's pretty superb. You don't see a lot of that happening. I'm sorry it's taken so long, John, but cheers, chap. What a legend. So this case from John, this is what's going to house this board, and it has been so long making this. So yeah, so I've got the board in and the ABS printed brackets. This one goes under the board and clips around a post, so just be aware of that before you put the board in, otherwise you'll be putting it in twice. So yeah, so the junker from the previous videos, that's well, that's been junked. That had some motherboard problems, so I've robbed the keyboard out of it. That will go in, lovely. And I've got a nice case from the Badge Man, a nice 60 clone case that's going to go, badge that will go on there. So yeah, what we've got to do now is see if we can update the firmware on the Quarry. I don't know which firmware it's running, and the ARM2 SID. So yeah, I'm going to get it sort of assembled, get it on the bench, and get it powered up, and then yeah, let's see about updating the firmware. Okay, so I've got it back together. It's not fully screwed down because the keyboard needs a couple of internal screws to the plastic ABS brackets, and it was squeaking a bit, so I'll do that later. But as you can see, it looks really nice, and this badge from Badge Man, is really superb. Sets it off a treat. So look at that. So yeah, you can see the different colour styling on it there. Like I said, it isn't screwed down. So what we're going to do is we're going to power it up, we're going to update the Kung Fu Flash, and we're going to update the ARM SID and the VIC-2 Quarry. So yeah, let's get set up for that. Okay, so it's booted into the Kung Fu Flash, and the last thing I'd loaded. If we go back to the menu, got 144. Let's have a look here. 148 update, boom, upgrade, and there it is, 148 lice. So if we go into tools, let's have a look at the Quarry first. There we go. There's a D81 file here, so let's, oh yeah, okay, not so sure about that. Okay, that was easy enough. Current firmware 1.5. Okay. Flash lock bit is enabled. Oh, okay. So I'm going to have to take the top off to do that anyway. So let's move on to the arm SID. If we go into the which one is it? Right, arm 2 SID. Right. More than one arm 2 SID found. No, there is only one. Let's do it at 1. 3.12. Ready to update. Let's do it. Never done this myself. I've just heard a little pop on the audio. Here we go, resetting. Update done. Well, that was quite painless. Let's try the config util. Oh, arm SID tester. Left channel at 400, D400, D420 for the right. Well, that all looks pretty good. Digifix. Well, yeah. I wonder what happens if you... Oh, yeah. Let's try that again. I wonder what happens if you choose the other side. Yeah, still 3.15. Very nice. And there we go. Right. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove the lock bit and then we'll do the Kawari. So give me a few minutes. Okay, so I'm back again and I think I've unlocked the right jumper. So it's a really small jump on top. So here we go. Use fast loader. I'm going to go no. Perform verify. Let's do perform flash. Okay, it's definitely unlocked this time. Okay. Well, it's actually going for it this time. I don't know how many blocks it's got to do. So on the Kung Fu Flash, I've selected a D81 file for the firmware. Oh, it's done. There you go. Look at that. Press any key. Let's do a verify. Verify. Well, it seems to be going all right. This is in real time, so a little bit worrying because it seems that the flash took less time than the read. Alright, well, this should be the last block. No. Okay. Finished. Well, it says it's okay. So there we are. As you can see, this screen is super crunchy. There's no jail bars, no nothing. This is an absolute superb picture out of the Kawari. If I reset the Kung Fu Flash, it says the current firmware version is 1.5. I see. It's apparently done it, but it's still saying 1.5. Oh no, there it is. Image for, oh no. So the image is 1.16. Okay, I'm going to give it a hard power down. There you go, 1.16. Yeah, that's what it needed. It needed a power cycle. So we're all good. Let's go into the menu. There we go. Nice. So all up to date. The whole thing looks superb. It's finally nice to finish this machine. So let's choose the... Very nice. Dual SID player. Brilliant. So it's been a long while getting there, and I highly recommend a 60 clone build to anyone, especially if you want your own personalised C64. The ARM2 SIDs, they're brilliant. It gives you 2 SIDs, or 2 SIDs and FM, or 3 SIDs even. So yeah, if you can do a little bit of soldering, it's well worth putting in. The VIC-2 Kawari, well, that is just superb. The picture quality out of it is as good as you're going to get. Really good. Yeah, no problem there at all. The main idea for this build was to make myself a PAL and NTSC. Well, it was originally for NTSC only, but now I can do PAL and NTSC. And this, as you can see here, is in PAL. Now you can also pick up a jumper on the VIC-2 Kawari and break it out and be able to flip between PAL and NTSC. Absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, I've now got a machine that I'll keep along with my Ultimate and yeah, my C128 until, you know, forever. So it's been a long time coming, but thanks for watching. This is the third of 3 in this series. The other 2 I made a long time ago, but be sure to check them videos out. Also, have a look in the description at my compadres. They got some great channels with good stuff going on, so be sure to give them a look. And thanks for watching.
you.